sketching and digitizing logos using Illustrator. I'm going to step into this immediately. And the lesson outline here is you are to understand the principles of effective logo design, from idea to sketch concept development, types of logo, wordmark, icon, emblem. Digitizing is sketch using Illustrator, using the pen tool and shape builder tool, and some class practice. The objective is, by the end of this lesson, you should be able to sketch logo ideas based on brand goals, differentiate between types of logos, use Illustrator tools to digitize sketches, apply basic grid and alignment techniques, create a clean draft of a logo in vector format. So what actually makes a good logo? So I'm guessing by now you should have tried designing a logo. You should have tried doing something. So now, the reason for this course is to make you understand how to get the best out of designing a logos, right? How to perfect logos, how to make a logo which can actually represent a brand, not just designing something which can represent a brand. Because the truth is, anything could be a logo, but not everything could represent a brand. So what makes a good logo? A strong logo is simple, easy to recognize and remember. So when designing your logos, don't avoid going for overly complicated designs. These are some logo examples which I have selected and I put on the slide. So the logo must be easy to recognize and remember. Right. That's the first thing about the logo. It must be relevant. It should match the brand's promise, right? The logo must be relevant. So although anything could be a logo, however, that logo should also have a certain story to it, right? Certain story or purpose to it, which aligns with the brand's purpose. The logo should be versatile. The logo should be able to work in various sizes and formats, because you're going to be using your logo across different things: social media designs, banners, posters, print designs, t-shirts, bags. So you're going to be using your logo across different things. So your logo should be versatile, be able to be used on different platforms. Your logo should be timeless. When designing a logo, it's not so that after 6 months you're going to change it, after 6 months you're going to change it. The logo is not a flyer. The logo is not something which you do after every 2 weeks or 3 months, like a flyer. A logo is meant to be timeless. A logo is supposed to be able to last you like 10 years, 5 years, 10 years, 20 years, unless you feel the logo needs a rebranding, right? Maybe unless the logo does no longer align with the brand's values or the brand's purpose. In that case, you'll be needing a rebranding, right? But if you are not changing your brand values or your brand purpose, then there's no need for rebranding. So your logo should match that purpose, right? Your logo should match the purpose of the brand, the values of the brand, and that's how your logo becomes timeless. So your logo should not be based on fleeting trends of the moment, but should rather represent the brand's purpose and the brand's values. Your logo should be memorable, right? Your logo should be unique and recognizable. That's what makes a memorable logo. Don't design a logo that already looks like something else in the market. So most likely, if someone comes to you and says he needs a logo, he will want something unique. So you have to be creative in designing your logos, right? It's not just about putting something together. Does this logo already exist? Is this something which will make this brand stand out uniquely, right, in its own way? So avoid copying logos which you already see online. So if somebody calls me to design logo for a car, I can't come and be doing the same thing which Mercedes already has, because now people won't be able to differentiate my brand from Mercedes. And given that Mercedes is already a bigger brand, my own brand will just get lost in the mix Nobody will care about it. Everybody just look at my brand as what? A copy, right? A copy, a cheap copy. So you would want your logo to be unique. That uniqueness makes it also what makes it timeless, right? What makes it relevant as well. So if it doesn't work in black and white, it may not be a strong logo. This is a tip. So your first draft of the logo should always be in black and white. So if you look at your logo, which is just designed, right? So don't be eager to put your logo in color immediately. Your first look at your design should be in black and white. And if you look at your logo in black and white and it's not nice in your eyes, then definitely you shouldn't be going for that. Do you understand? So your first design for your logo should be in black and white format, like the logos we have here. So you look at it and evaluate, does it actually look nice? Does this represent what the purpose of this brand without the flashiness of the colors? If yes, then you can proceed to adding colors. So if you're designing a logo for a client, for example, after you've sketched your samples and you've selected like 3 samples from those sketches, you're coming to Illustrator to use your pen tool to actually sketch them out. Your initial sketches should be in black and white, the first sketches, and it's this black and white format which you will send to your client for review. If he doesn't like the logo in this format, then it means the logo doesn't represent what they are looking for. A logo which looks good in black and white will look good in color. Will look even better in color. So types of logos, there are different types of logos. The first type which you have is the word mark, right? Word mark is text only. For example, Google. So Google is just some text, and each letter is having its own color. So Google is just a text. Just a text written down like this, that's all. So that will serve as a logo. The next type of logo are letter marks. For these letter marks are example initials or monogram. So I don't know if you know the brand H&M. I didn't add the logo here. Or IBM, if you've seen the IBM logo, or NASA. So these are letter marks. So NASA is represents each word here, right? How can you say it? An abbreviation rather. So NASA is an abbreviation of a longer word. So these letter marks are usually used for abbreviations. These letter mark logos are usually used for abbreviations, right? Used for abbreviations. And you notice that the texts are what? They are custom made. This text here, these letters here are custom made. Unlike Google, which is just a normal font which is just used directly. The text here is more custom made, and most often they are initials, right, of a longer word. Then you have the icon or symbol. The icon or symbol is the graphic only without the text. For example, you have Apple. So the Apple logo does not have a text down here which writes the Apple. It's just this icon here of this apple which have been beaten at the corner. No text. So whenever you see this, what do you know? That is Apple. Even without text written down. It's another type of logo, the icon or symbol only. The next type of logo is the combination mark, which includes what the text plus the symbol. For example, we have Adidas. For those who are used to shoes, sneakers, Adidas logo. Another example is this Burger King, right? Which you have text and you have an icon, right? Same thing, for example, with Liquitech, it's a combination mark of an icon with text. Then you have the emblem, which is the text inside the shape. So, okay, here Pepsi is also an example of an icon or symbol. And here, this is an emblem here. Text of the shape. It's an emblem. So it looks like a badge. Emblems are like badges. Right? Like badges. So called emblem logo. So when you're designing a logo, you have to understand which type of logo you're trying to create. Which type of logo? Is it a word mark? Is it a letter mark? An icon? combination mark, is it an emblem? So the first thing you have to think of before now going to drafting the logos. So the next thing you do is you want to draw down some sketches with your pen or your pencil, right? Start with some rough thumbnail ideas. Focus on the brand's identity and message, right? So what is this brand? What does this brand represent? For example, you see a construction company, right? The way you design a logo for a construction company won't be the same maybe for a phone shop or a baby clothing shop or a tech startup or a fintech startup, a restaurant. So focus on the brand's identity and message, right? What does this brand, what do they do? Right? What services they offer? What do they stand for, right? That has to do with the identity and the message. So from that, you try to sketch some ideas with your pencil or your pen on your paper, right? Sketch some ideas, different ideas. So at this point, you shouldn't be worrying about whether it looks perfect, right? Just explore your creativity. Go through different ideas. Go through different 3 variations, 5 variations, 10 variations as you see fit, right? Until you find something which you're comfortable with, something which looks good enough. So now you can either do this on a paper, right, with a pen or pencil. That is what I would recommend, especially for a beginner at the start. Or you could also directly go into Illustrator and start sketching on Illustrator. But I always recommend sketching first on a paper, right? Sketching ideas on paper first. And if you have a digital tablet, such as the iPad or the Wacom, you could also sketch directly on your computer using digital tablet. Or it's also called a graphic tablet. So these are just rough sketches, right? So explore ideas. You will refine them later. So before opening Illustrator, choose your best sketch. So amongst your sketches, you choose the one which best represents what you're trying to design. So you consider shape simplicity, negative space, icon text relationship, which is different between the size of the icon and the size of the text. The icon text relationship. Negative space, which is the spacing between maybe the icon and the text, spacing between the letters. Scan or take a photo or the sketch with your phone, right? Take a picture of the sketch with your phone, and import into Illustrator and lock the layer to trace over. So like this, for example, right? Let's open like our Illustrator. This is our Illustrator. So once you finish sketching, you take a picture and you can go to where the picture is on your computer and simply drag it like this and drop on your canvas. I dragged the wrong image. Okay, so now you position it like this. This is my sketch, right? I can resize it. I can maintain my hand on shift, click and resize. Like this, position it. Okay, that's my sketch, right? So I can now come to my layers here, layers panel here, drop down here. I will see this my image here. I can click on this empty box here to lock it. Another thing I can do is decrease the opacity. How do I decrease the opacity? I make sure that this layer is clicked on. When I click on the layer, it says highlighted. I will go down to this point here. You will see appearance down here. Click on appearance. Okay, you see, click on transparency instead. Transparency here. And under transparency, you will see opacity. You can reduce the opacity here. Okay, let's unlock it first. We'll reduce the opacity first. So you have to unlock it first before coming to reduce the opacity. Okay, click on it. Yes, you have to click on it first click on it, make sure it's unlocked, go down to opacity and reduce it, right? Let's say to like 50%. Then now you can lock it like this, and now use your pen tool. You come to the left panel here. This is the pen tool here, just here, the pen tool, and you click on it once, select your pen tool. So you can come in now on your layer, you can zoom in now and produce it with your pen tool. So for example here, I'll click once, the anchor point is created. So see, the anchor point is created, so it moves with my mouse. So I'm going to create the next anchor point by going to where I want to create it and clicking once like this. Has been created. The next point I'll click once like this. The next point I click once. Next point I click once. Next point I click once. And next point I click once. Like this. So I can remove the fill color, right? The fill color is the color within the shape by coming here and pressing on this icon here, which says none. Click on this, and I can add some outline by clicking on this small, the other box behind, so it comes in front, and I now select the color black. Right. I can now go down here to the stroke and increase the size of this stroke, right? I can increase it to 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 pixels like this. So this is it. I can round my edges here by clicking on it, right? Selecting this second mouse here, the direct selection, the white one, clicking this white one, and this red dots appear. So if I click on any of these red dots, I can click on them and then drag. It's going to round my edges like this. All of them at once. So if I want to round a particular edge, I can maintain my hand on shifts and click on that particular edge I want to round, and now it's going to round only this edge. See, the other ones are not rounded. I can undo my changes by pressing Ctrl C. So this is how you're going to do it, right? And you can also produce straight lines, but also you produce like curves, right? Like for example, this curve on this curve on this S. Can come and click here once, and I come to this point here. I want to reproduce this curve, so I'll not click once this time. I'll click, maintain my hand, the left click, and drag until it matches the curve. It's not exactly correct. I can still press Ctrl Z to go back. It's like my stroke was a little bit too big. I can first of all come here to my stroke here on the right panel and reduce the width of my stroke, let's say to 1 pixel. Right, I can come back here and click another point here. When I click once, I maintain my hand and I drag until the curve matches the one on my image, and I release it. See? So I can come again and see, click on the next point. So we said when we create a curve, right, the next anchor point automatically is a curve. However, if you want to cancel this curve so it becomes a normal, I'll come back here. Let me zoom in for you to see well. If I don't want the next anchor point to be a curve, I'll come back to this anchor point here and click on it. So now it's a straight line again. You see? I can undo by pressing Ctrl C. So I'm going to reproduce this curve here. I'll click and maintain and drag. Right, like this. Zoom in. I'll click, maintain and drag. And I'm going to cancel this one. I'm going to cancel this curve here by clicking the previous anchor point. Coming back here. Clicking once, maintaining my hand on the left click and dragging. Right, like this. So to create a curve, you click, maintain hand on the left click and drag, then you release. As you create a curve, you click, maintain your hand on the left click, drag, then you release. To cancel the curve, come back and click on the previous anchor point like this. And to create a curve, I click and drag like this. So, for example, we have this. I can come and fix it. There are some certain points here like this which are not really very circular. I can click on this outline. I can come and click on this direct selection tool here, and see these circles are appearing again. I can click on them and drag now to smoothen those areas, right? When I drag it, yeah, smoothing the area a little bit. I can also increase the stroke size by coming to the stroke here and increasing 1, 2. I can also change the stroke, modify the stroke by coming here, right? I'll down click on this one and I'll choose this with profile 1, and you see it's going to sharpen the edges like this. So the edges have been sharpened. The other styles, right, like this, or like this, or even like this. So the other styles as well. So I think I want to go with this one, for example. So you're going to use your pen tool in order to reproduce your design with your pen tool as much as you can. So normally for text, you're not going to do your text with your pen tool, right? You're going to go to select your text tool here, which is the T tool for text. Select the T tool and click on your screen, and you're going to type logo, for example. Normally that's how you do. You're not going to create your text with your pen tool unless you're creating custom text. If it's a custom text you're creating, then you can use your pen tool. But if not, if it's a normal text, you can simply create it using the text tool, just like you did in Photoshop. You can maintain your hand on shift to resize it as well. You can also rotate it. When you come at the edges, you see your mouse, your cursor changes. You come at the edges, and when you change it, you can simply click and turn it around to rotate it. You can maintain your hand on shift. Click here and drag now to resize. So those are some things. That is how you're creating your logo. Can curves be created in Photoshop using the pen tool as well? Yes, curves can be created in Photoshop using the pen tool as well. What's a custom text? So for example, right, custom text. This here, to write this text, right, we just use the text tool and we typed it, right? But however, we can also do this. We can use this pen tool like this, for example, and come here and start sketching this text like this manually. Like this, right? And then we'll set the color maybe to black. You see now, we just manually created letter L. So do you understand what I mean by doing custom text? So this is how you're going to produce your logo on Photoshop, on Illustrator, by using your type tool. You'll be using your text tool here, your type tool. You'll be using your pen tool to reproduce shapes, type tool for text, pen tool also for custom letters, And another thing which you'll be using is your pathfinder, right? Your pathfinder, in order to create custom shapes. Pathfinder, in order to create custom shapes. So for example, let's create a custom shape just now. So we have these two rectangles, right? Or these two rectangles, or these two squares, and we want to create a custom logo. This one we're going to put it like this. Our aim is to reproduce this, right? This, for example, this is what we want to reproduce. So how can we do this now using shapes? So Illustrator allows us to create some custom shapes by combining, separating, uniting them in different ways. So for example, I have these two shapes and I want to create this. So how I did is I'm going to take this shape and bring it above this one in this way. I'm going to reduce the size a little bit. So there you have it, my custom shape has been created. But wait, it doesn't really exactly look like this yet. So you start in this case here, it's like this one was a portion of this before, but now it's separated. So how do I do that? So one way is I can sketch this on my paper, then come in Illustrator and use my pen tool to reproduce it like this. It's going to work. Or I can directly come on Illustrator, put these two shapes together like this, highlight both of them, go to Object, Expand them. So now they have like expanded them. Then the next thing I'll do, while they see both highlighted together, I'll go down to the pathfinder. If you can't see your pathfinder here, simply go to Windows here and scroll down. You see pathfinder. Then you click on it, it's going to appear. And I go to my pathfinder tool here and I choose this option here, divide. The different options is divide the stream, merge, crop, outline, minus back, exclude, intersect, minus front, unite. I'm going to choose this one, divide. I'm going to divide them. Divide simply means that what? So wherever these shapes intersect, right, I'm going to create a cutout wherever they intersect. So now you can see that before I could not see this line here, but now I'm seeing it. So when I don't click on it, I cannot see it. When I click on it, I can see the separation. Now I have this one here, this one here, and this one here. So simply what? The shapes have been divided. So now I can simply select the direct selection tool, command. So with the direct selection tool, I can now modify individual parts of these new shapes that have been created. I can click here and drag it like this. I can also click here and drag it like this. I can change the color of this one to black and change this as well to black. And my logo has been created like this. So now, due to our branding requirements, we'll now be checking at what does this logo actually represent the company in a way it should. That's another question on itself. But there you have it. A logo has been created just like this. I can now simply add my name, timeless, and my logo is done. But the question is, does this represent the values, the purpose of the company? Does it match those? Or is this what the client wants, right, for his company or for his business? It's also considerations taken to account. So your logo might look good in your eyes, right? It looks really nice in your eyes, but it might not be what the client or the company is expecting. Or it might not match with the company's purpose or values, which they would want to represent. So your design should always have that in mind, should always have branding in mind. You know, you're not just a graphic designer, you're a brand-oriented designer. So we have already gone through using the pen tool for digitizing your logos. We've gone through this already. Use a pen tool to trace outlines of your sketch. Use anchor points to and handles for curves. Use direct selection tool A to adjust precision. Use show versus fill options for refinement. Zoom in and use guides for alignment. So we've gone through this already. We've gone through the shape builder tool, the pathfinder, combining or subtracting shapes quickly. Select overlapping shapes. Use Shift plus M, shape builder tool. Click to merge. Alt plus C to subtract. Helpful for creating icons from simple geometry. So there are other options as well, right? Offset this divide. Let's put this text back together again. These shapes back together. We have like this, and we have this, for example. So if we highlight, let me change the color of the second one to let's say blue. So if I highlight both of them, go to Object, Expand. This time we're going to do what? Trim. See what happens now. I see the difference now with trim. Since this layer was in the foreground, it simply cut out this one which was in the background. So as if this one here, which was on the background, this image was simply deleted. That's what trim does. Let's take another example. We have this again, and we have this. Let's change the color of this one to purple. Same again, we will highlight both of them, Object, Expand, and this time we'll do what? Merge. So now what happens? Both of them have been combined. Contact selection tool and you move them. Let's test the other one as well. Change the color to red. Go to Object, Expand, and this time will be crop. Are you seeing? Let's go again. Select the move tool, highlight all of them, Object, Expand, and outline. Let's increase the stroke. Press outline. So there you have it. You can use this in different ways in order to create custom icon, custom shapes in various ways. So ultimately we'll have a practical class where we'll be testing different different creating different logos. Like we'll be reproducing different logos just by using these tools here, the pathfinder tools and the shape mode tools of a particular class, just for that. But this is just to show you what they can do. So I have another in-depth particular class to show you different ways designers have used them in order to create some of the logos which you know. So what are some tips for clean vector logos? Keep paths smooth and curves balanced, right? So avoid rough paths. Your path should be smooth and your curve balanced. So this comes with mastery of the pen tool. So practice using the pen tool. Use smart guides and grids for alignment. Simplify points where possible. Don't stretch type. Scale proportionally. What does this mean? Let me show you. This is our text here, right? What it means is, if I just come and draw this text like this, see what happens? It becomes stretched out. It doesn't look good. This is not advisable. This is not practical. So let me cancel on undo with Control C. So if you want to scale the logo, make sure you maintain your hand on Shift and increase now the size. Are you seeing? Same thing goes for shapes, right? For shapes, not just text, even shapes. So try to avoid, especially when it comes to circles, right? And images as well. Images. Use text and images to proportion. Avoid stretching them out or distorting them, as they won't look good. So you maintain your hand on shapes and you drag. This is different from Photoshop, where in Photoshop you don't have to maintain hand on shift key, but in Illustrator you have to maintain your hand on the shift key before dragging. So let's have another small discussion based on what we said so far. So in your opinion, what makes some logo feel more professional than others? In your opinion, what makes some logos feel more professional?
Simplicity.
Can you just type it in the group? Or I can mute my mic, then you can speak. Okay, try talking now.
Simplicity.
Yeah, the consistency in color and typography, right? It matters. Can make a logo look more professional than others. Simplicity, yes. Who says a logo doesn't have to be complex, right? Complex. It has to work, it has to. Okay, my mic was muted. Yes, consistency in color and typography matters a lot. Can make a logo look more professional. So you just take your logo, you combine like 7-8 colors on one logo, definitely it might not look very professional. And your typography, how you combine your typography together, the type of typography you use based on for what company or what industry you're designing for matters. Can make it look more professional or make it look like a joke. Yes, simplicity. We talk about logo being should be simple, right? Simple. Avoid trying to overcomplicate your logo. Relevance to the brand. Yes, relevance to the brand. So maybe you were designing a logo for a car company, you're using a phone. It has to do with the car. What is the phone doing there on your icon? Which tools in Illustrator helped you the most, or which tool, right, in Illustrator helps you the most today? Or let me change it. Which tool do you find most interesting in Illustrator? Yes. What? Versatility. Versatility. How? Can you explain the versatility? Works in multiple sizes. Yes. I won't say sizes, I would say more like multiple locations. Okay, I understand your point. Right. Works multiple locations. So for example, we said when you're designing a logo is going to be used across different environments, right? Flyers, print designs, on t-shirts. So versatility matters. It has to be able to be used on these various, like in these various ways. Yes, the Pathfinder. So your most interesting tool was the Pathfinder. The Pathfinder question was which tool did you find most interesting? Most interesting today. So these are things. The other questions you ask yourself when you be actually be doing it. When you be actually be doing it. When you will actually be designing your logo, right? So you decide to sketch it and digitize it, or do you want to go straight into Illustrator? Why or why not? What's the reason? That one is for you to answer. That is for you to answer in the design process. And the last question, how can simplification improve a logo's effectiveness? Why is it important for it to be simple? Why is it important for it to be simple? Yes, so it can easily be recognized. Exactly. Exactly. So we've come at the end of today's session as well. So today we saw two different lessons in one. This is because last week we only treated one lesson. So this was an attempt to catch up from last week. So that's why I had to treat two lessons today. And the activity here, yes, was simply to work on a logo again. It could be that same idea which you chose in the first time, it could be a new one, right? If you choose the first idea, you might be working on refining it. It's a new idea, maybe working on recreating something new. So your choice, right? Either you're refining the original layout, the original logo, which you had created based on the branding and logo techniques which you just saw now, or you are creating a new logo maybe for a same industry or a different industry, right? So choose a brand sketch choose a brand sketch, right? So you're going to sketch your brand, uh, sketch your logo, sorry, you sketch your logo on your paper, import the sketch into Illustrator, trace it, apply your color palette and typography, place your draft as save it as an AI, as an Adobe Illustrator file, so it can be editable. Always save your design firstly as an editable file. If it's Photoshop, as a PSD. If it's Illustrator, as an Adobe Illustrator file, so that you can always come back and edit. Then you can now save it as a PNG or a GPG or a JPG. So always note that save your design first as an editable file before saving as an image. So you do that and you will send. So your assignment is this: you have to sketch the logo, right, and save it as a PNG. And for this logo, right, you have to do the brand identity, just like we saw in the previous lesson. The brand identity for this logo. This logo could be the same one you had done for the previous class, or it could be a new one if you wish. So thank you all for attending today's lecture. This class was really long, maybe about 2 hours, almost 2 hours. So it was really long. So thank you all for those who stayed to the end. And if you have any questions, ask. If not, you are done with the class already. So if you have any questions, you can put to listen. But if not, thank you for attending. The link to the recording will be shared in the group as soon as possible. So if you have any questions, you can ask now. But if not, we are done for today. Thank you all for attending. Also, very important, always remember to submit your assignments to the group. You have not been submitting assignments to the group. As I said before, you cannot be a designer who doesn't design. You cannot take a practical program and you don't do the practice. So design, submit your design to the group for review. And once your design is being reviewed, correct it and resend it again, the update. The review is not just for you to take it and keep it, it's for you to work on design again and resend it. It's part of it. So make sure you practice and you forward to the group for review. And the reviews are also not just limited to me. You have an idea on somebody's design, you could always replace that design and share your own thoughts about the person's design, right? Just limited to me. So feel free to share your thoughts as well in the group. Your inquiries, your thoughts, your designs, feel free to share them in the group. And also endeavor to also share the group link to also your various communities for others to join as well. When you go through the YouTube videos, like the videos and subscribe to the channel as well in order to support us, the initiative. I asked earlier that what's the difference between custom text and normal text. I explained now. I said the custom text, you can do custom text by yourself using your pen tool. And normal text, you can input them using the type tool. So custom text are like drawings, right? Using your pen tool, you can draw the text by yourself. While normal text, you're using your type tool, following a particular font type.